fact, the national politics has intensified in the past several days as the demand for the resignation of Prime Minister KP Sharma Oli is growing in the ruling party. To add to the controversy, the current session of the parliament was also closed abruptly as the disgruntled faction in the party has sternly objected to the government move. Good morning, I'm Sarah Sapsanama and these are the top stories of the hour. Pressure piles on Prime Minister KP Sharma Oli as the top brass meeting ends without a conclusion. Central Committee members harp on consensus and party unity. The trend of institutions deviating from the norms of remaining neutral during power tussle witnessed again in the country's ongoing political quagmire. A record single-day spike of 740 new cases takes the national infection tally past 15,000. COVID-19 death toll climbs to 32. And the newly constructed beach volleyball courts in Pokhara falls victim to the negligence of the sport authorities in the country. The ruling Nepal Communist Party held a meeting yesterday at Prime Minister KP Sharma Oli's official residence in Baluatar to discuss the new political developments. The meeting, mainly between the chairman duo Prime Minister KP Sharma Oli and Pushpa Kamal Dahal at Baluatar, lasted for around 3 hours but failed to reach a breakthrough. The meeting was also attended by leaders Bishnu Podal and Janardhan Sharma, who had signed as witnesses during the party unification. According to sources close to the Prime Minister, both the chairman duo reiterated their respective demands at the meeting. Executive Chairman Pushpa Kamal Dahal requested the Prime Minister to give up his dual posts, citing that the public resentment against the unilateral ways of the government, especially against the Prime Minister, was growing. However, Prime Minister Oli, according to sources, bluntly rejected Dahal's request. Premier Oli maintained that since he was elected by the House of Representatives, he would not bow down to pressure from outside the parliament. The meeting was finally adjourned with an understanding to resume later today. Meanwhile, as the meeting ended, both the camps busied themselves to formulate strategy for the upcoming political parleys. Meanwhile, some of the Central Committee members of the ruling party staged a sit-in at NCP headquarters in the capital's Dhumbarahi, urging the leadership not to split the newly unified party. The participating leaders at the sit-in program said they wanted to pressure the leadership to maintain consensus and party unity. And moving on, the trend of institutions deviating from the norms of remaining neutral during power equation in the ruling party has been witnessed one more time in the country's ongoing political quagmire. The unfortunate practice is visible again amid the ongoing political dispute in the ruling Nepal Communist Party. We have more in this report.
Prime Minister KP Sharma Oli on Thursday walked out of the Standing Committee meeting to reach the President's office, Sheetal Niwas. Following an hour-long meeting with President Bidya Devi Bhandari, Premier Oli, through the Cabinet, recommended the prorogation or abruptly ending the current session of the Parliament. Within an hour of the recommendation, the President's office announced the closure of the House session. Many leaders of the ruling party itself raised questions over the hasty government decision and the swift response by the president. The party executive chairman Pushpa Kamal Dahal also reached Sheetal Niwas in the ensuing political development. The scenario indicates that the president's office has unfortunately become a part of power equation in the country. The President's office, in the capacity of the patron of the National Charter, is expected to play a neutral role. However, this incidentally was not the first occasion that the country's president had remained politically aligned. Likewise, another neutral institution, that of the House Speaker, has also been alleged of taking biased decisions while trying to block the endorsement procedures of the controversial MCC agreement from the Parliament. The former Speaker Krishna Bahadur Mahara, according to sources, did not let the agreement to be tabled in the Parliament, while the sitting Speaker Agni Sapkota also made sure that the agreement did not move ahead in the Parliament. Speaker Sapkota a week ago adjourned the House meeting till 1st of July despite having the knowledge that a decision needed to be taken on the MCC endorsement by the end of June. Prime Minister Oli tactically responded by proroguing the parliament without a single consultation with Speaker Sapkota. Political analysts feel that the power dispute between the chairman duo is having a visible impact on institutions that should have stayed neutral.
In yet another day of record single-day spike, 740 new coronavirus cases were recorded in the country to take the COVID-19 infections tally to 15,259 yesterday. One more COVID-19 related death was also registered yesterday to take the fatalities in the country to 32. Among the 4,483 swab samples tested, 740 samples were diagnosed positive. Acham reported the highest 230 cases. Likewise, Kailali reported 54, Kanchanpur 45, Doti 47 and Baitari 29. Positive cases were recorded in Rautahad, 29 positive cases in fact, 28 in Chapa, 24 in Siraha and 16 in Dhanusha. The Health Ministry also confirmed that an 85-year-old man who had passed away this Wednesday and was from the capital's New Baneshwar had been infected with the coronavirus. The Health Ministry said that the 85-year-old deceased was also a patient of high blood pressure and Parkinson's disease. On a positive note, 6,143 individuals registered full recovery and were discharged from various quarantine facilities. 9,084 COVID-19 patients are kept in various isolation centers across the country. The Kathmandu metropolitan city has been alleged of the misuse of Prime Minister Employment Program Fund by using it to pluck out weeds, cleaning sewage, among other trivial activities. The Kathmandu metropolitan city, which had received 9 million rupees on behalf of Prime Minister Employment Program, has spent the amount against its intended course of action by employing unauthorized personnel. The metropolitan city plucked the weeds in the garden path at Maitighar Tinkuni Road section that was under the supervision of Nepal Telecom. The metropolitan city said that due to the ongoing lockdown, the amount could not be used in other activities. 5.1 billion rupees was allocated for the Prime Minister Employment Program in the current fiscal year. The misuse of the funds against the course of action has been increasing during the last month of the fiscal year. And moving on, the Federation of Nepalese Journalists staged a protest program yesterday demanding professional security of working journalists. The Federation staged a sit-in at the capital's Babar Mahal demanding the professional security of all working journalists. The Federation has requested media houses to implement the Working Journalists Act at the earliest. The Federation has also expressed objections, citing that journalists have been robbed of their jobs in the name of the extended lockdown. Now, Nepal's per capita income has recorded a noteworthy increase. According to a survey report released by the World Bank, the per capita income of Nepalese has reached $1,090. The World Bank report states that the per capita income, which was previously $960, has now increased by $130. With the surge in the income, Nepal has also climbed up from countries with low income to lower middle income group. World Bank states Nepal is moving in the right direction to be listed under the middle-income countries within the year 2030. The World Bank has been grouping all the countries on the basis of their per capita income. Meanwhile, Sri Lanka, another subcontinent nation which had been listed as a country with upper middle income, has disembarked to the list of lower middle income countries. In our Public Voice segment, we had asked the people in Chapa district what are the problems of transport entrepreneurs and workers involved in the transport sector. Let's take a look at what they had to say.
रातो नम्बर प्लेटको गाडी कुदिरहेछ उल्ले मजाले कुदेर गरिरहेको छ के कालो प्लेटको गाडीलाई चाहिँ कोरोना लाग्ने रातो नम्बर प्लेटको गाडीलाई चाहिँ कोरोना नलाग्ने त्यो त भएन नि त
प्रत्येक दिन कमाएर मैले बैंकको किस्ता तिर्नु पर्ने मैले छोराछोरी पाल्नु पर्ने छोराछोरी पढाउनु पर्ने अवस्था त्योहरु चाहिँ सबै अहिले एकदम ममा चाहिँ एकदम अप्ठ्यारो अवस्था भइरहेको छ
खोइ त मजदुरलाई राहत मजदुरले चाहिँ कसरी खाने जबकि मजदुरको गाडी नै चल्न पाउँदैन भने मजदुरले के गरी खाने सरकारले भन्नुहुन्छ हामीले रात बाँड्नु खोइ कहाँ बाँड्नु भयो सरकारले रात
एक त रोटीको समस्या अनि बाल तिर्नु पर्यो बच्चा बच्ची पढाउन समस्या दबाई औषधि गर्न खर्च हुँदैन
हामी यता चल्दा त हाम्रो भोक हामीले हाम्रो परिवारदेखि त सबैलाई पाल्ने हामीले त्यही 2-4 पैसा कमाएर घर परिवारलाई सबैलाई छाकटार्ने गरेका छौँ 3 महिना भयो 90 दिन 100 दिन लाग्यो अब घर परिवारको अझ नाजुक अवस्था हुँदै गयो
यातायात गाडीहरू चल्दै बिहान बेलुका हातमुख जोडिएको थियो त्यो बन्द छ
यो ठप्प हुँदा हुँदै सार्वजनिक यातायातमा काम गर्ने यातायात मजदुरहरू रोगसँग भन्दा पनि भोकसँग लडिरहेको अवस्था छ यसले चाहिँ जुन यो कोरोनासँग लड्नलाई हामीसँग आत्मबल चाहिन्छ त्यो आत्मबल खाली पेटमा आत्मबल बढाउन नसक्ने भएको कारणले झन् ठुलो दुर्घटना हुने सम्भावना छ
Time now for our segment Public Pulse, where you text us with your opinion.
Public Pulse.
The question is, what's your take on the eroding of infrastructures constructed during the recent South Asian Games? Your options are A, inferior construction, B, apathy towards safeguarding, and C, lack of ownership. The voting is on. Type NAWS, select your option A, B or C and send it to 34001 to share your opinion with us. Let's move on to the sports update. The newly constructed beach volleyball court in Pokhara has also fallen victim to the negligence of the sport authorities. During the 13th South Asian Games 8 months ago, beach volleyball court was constructed in the 11th hour. The National Sports Council had spent 5.5 million rupees for the construction of 4 courts. However, after the conclusion of the SAG Games, no tournament has been held in these courts, neither proper management has been done. Due to the sheer negligence, the courts made at the banks of Fewa Lake have been eroded by the pond water. These courts were not merely constructed for the 13th South Asian Games, but also in view of the upcoming 9th National Games to be hosted by Pokhara. The National Sports Council, which is authorized to look after the total maintenance of these courts, is now pointing out budget crunch. Sports enthusiasts say that the beach volleyball courts debacle well represents the apathy of sports authorities in the country. Time now for our special segment, Media Watch.
Speaking at the 69th Madan Bhandari Memorial Day program held at his official residence in Balwatar on Sunday, Prime Minister KP Sharma Oli alleged India of plotting to topple his government because of unveiling the complete political and administrative map of Nepal by including Limpiadhura and Lipu Lake regions. Prime Minister Oli also blamed the southern neighbor of playing a role in overthrowing his government in 2016 just because he signed a treaty on trade in transit with China. Premier Oli also expressed his resentment against what he called an active role played by some party leaders themselves to remove him from the position. Leaders from the ruling Nepal Communist Party have recently been criticizing the government's performance and activities. The recent statement from the Prime Minister is considered by experts as a part of his defense strategy at a time when he has been criticized within his own party, which he anticipates could influence the Standing Committee meeting. Meanwhile, top brass ruling Nepal Communist Party leaders, including Executive Chairman Pushpakamal Dahal, have demanded for the resignation of Prime Minister and Party Chairman KP Sharma Oli from the dual positions. Executive Chairman Dahal criticized Prime Minister Oli for exhibiting unilateral ways with the government and the party and demanded for his resignation from both the posts at Tuesday's Standing Committee meeting. Dahal urged Prime Minister Oli to step down from the posts to pave way for a better leadership, citing that the government's activities had dented the party's reputation. The main opposition, Nepali Congress, also criticized Prime Minister Oli for his recent remarks alleging India of attempting to topple his government. At Tuesday's Central Committee meeting of the party, the main opposition called the Premier's statement apolitical and accused the Prime Minister of not being able to maintain the reputation of his position. President Bidya Devi Bhandari closed the current session of the Parliament from Thursday evening upon the recommendation of the Cabinet. With internal politics of the ruling Nepal Communist Party getting complicated, the government all of a sudden decided to end the current session of both the houses. The cabinet meeting held on Thursday afternoon had decided to recommend the president to end the House session. The decision was later approved by the president's office. Prior to the cabinet meeting, Prime Minister KP Sharma Oli had reached the president's office Sheetal Niwas in Maharajganj to hold an hour-long consultation with President Bhandari. Meanwhile, Executive Chairman of the ruling Nepal Communist Party, Pushpakamal Dahal, who reportedly was skeptic following the sudden end of the parliament session, also called on President Bhandari at Sheetal Niwas on Thursday. During his meeting with the president, Executive Chairman Dahal expressed his resentment against the government's sudden move to close the parliament session. Prime Minister Oli's decision to end the current session of the federal parliament was so abrupt that the premier had not even consulted on the matter with House Speaker Agni Sapkota. The recent political development also means that the controversial American-funded Millennium Challenge Corporation Agreement, Citizenship and Civil Service Bill, among other bills, will remain suspended for the time being. The political development on Thursday has left the sovereign parliament a victim of internal party bickering. This is Abhyuday Shrestha for the special segment Media Watch and Kantipur News Desk.
That's all for the moment. Thank you for watching. Have a great day ahead.